Welcome back to the second half. And actually, I have properly researched this. I've spent a good couple of days immersed in the world of Lindsay. There's a couple of lovely quotes from him. For me, dancing is the quickest way to happiness, just as music is the most direct route to heaven. And what I want, this is what Lindsay said, what I want to do with the British theatre is to restore the glamour of the Folie Bergère with the thrill of the circus, and I really want to take people's breath away. And I know that what you're going to see in this half will do just that. Now, we are going to be joined by some guests, and some of those you've already seen, a couple you haven't yet. So I would like to introduce to you onto this stage. You've already seen him, Mr. Judd Charlton. A round of applause. We have microphones here. And also to Jack Bessell, ladies and gentlemen. Only because you're to my left, Judd. I'm going to ask you both to give a little, a tiny little potted history of both of yourselves and your connection to Lindsay.
Right. Shall I go first? Okay, I'll go first. Get it over and done with. So I was working with Lindsay on a Kate Bush film called The Line, the Cross and the Curve back in 92, I think. I was kind of at drama school at the time, and it was my summer holiday, was working with Kate Bush and Lindsay Kemp, and it was delightful. He was astonishing, dressed in
you there.
That's me. That's me.
I saw this photo on the internet today, and I thought, there's Judd Charlton.
That's me, yeah, at the ripe old age of 20-something or other. And there she's practicing for a song called Rubber Band Girl, which she does a lot of jumping around in and wandering around in. And it nearly won a Grammy as well. We went to America and nearly won a Grammy with it. And there's Lindsay dressed up. It was kind of, the film was a sort of Orpheus through the mirror. It was my job before I sort of got into performing. Before I went to drama school, I was working on pop videos.
Right.
And I worked on one of Kate's called Rocket Man, which was it was Elton John's song, mm-hmm. And she had me back. And we did quite a few things. She actually got me into the middle of her album, Fish People. So I spent, last time I saw her, we were doing this thing for Fish People. But she's a lovely woman, a very nice woman, and her music's wonderful. But she loved Lindsay, and she demanded that he was this particular character in this line, The Cross and the Curve, which is... I haven't seen Orpheus in the underworld.
Neither have I.
No, I don't know anything about it. But she goes through this mirror and she meets this kind of clown figure who I kind of think is like the grinning man. And she's got these shoes which won't stop dancing, and it was a wonderful experience.
Wonderful.
Lindsay was great, yeah.
Now, Jack, your connection to Lindsay and well, tell us about what you do.
Well, I'm a stage director and an actor trainer, and 5 years ago, a little more than that, I saw one of Lindsay's shows in Italy, and completely lost my cool, started weeping hysterically at the end, and I thought, I'd better go and explain myself, just in case it was distracting with weeping at the end. And the next thing that I heard from Italy was an invitation of a lifetime to go and co-direct with Lindsay, Romeo and Juliet, in Verona, with Daniela, and with my good friend Laura Weston, as she also helped, she contributed to that production. Really pleased she's here tonight, as my daughter Rosie is, and she was part of that process for a brief time. So we rehearsed, Lindsay and Daniela cast 18 actors from all over Italy, We rehearsed for the first week in a circus tent in torrential rain. It was delightful. And then we moved to the more salubrious surroundings of the Teatro Ristori in Verona, which is just a very, very beautiful place. And the production opened on the night of the Brexit referendum result. Exactly.
Prescient. Yeah.
So the next morning, a company was born. We decided that we were not going to stand for this, and so we Noma Physical Theatre, which carries on the work of Lindsay. We're an itinerant theatre company. We have 18 people living in 18 different cities all over Italy, and whenever a theatre company or a theatre in one of those cities has a theatre free for a week, they give it to us. We all go over there. We exist on a WhatsApp group list, and we've had 3 or 4 shows now with these wonderful gifts in kind. I find that Italy's really a very hospitable place to friends of Lindsay.
Because a lot of Lindsay stuff, from what I can glean, it's never been a subsidy-based company that he's had.
No.
It's all, it is just that. It feels very hand-to-mouth and very grassroots.
But it's wonderful how this company, you see, was trained by Lindsay and Daniela, and we retain that spirit, we retain that training. It's a common language. I think one of the reasons why that show I saw was so affecting was because the first part of it is a class, and when we worked together in Verona, the production of Romeo and Juliet. I mean, in Verona, come on. What a gig. We did well, didn't we? We did well. The first part of that was a class on stage, beautifully lit, of course. And so the audience gets to see the actors prepare and go through all of the beautiful sequences and the preparation, and also that bit of that camaraderie, of course, that the company has. And then when you see the performance straight on the back of that, you see not only the work that goes into it, but you're also emotionally already softened up. So I wasn't the only one, losing it at the end. It's a very he talks the audience through the class, and he always uses the collective noun we. It's never what are you doing?
Sure.
And we're flying, and we're this, and it's the most extraordinary, inclusive atmosphere.
Well, I think we really do need to see.
A little bit.
Would you like to introduce the film and what we're going to see?
It's really it's not a film like the beautiful masterpieces you've seen thus far and are going to see later. This is very much the family video album of this particular production. And the first bit is me trying to work with Lindsay speaking some text. This was quite a challenge at times. And the idea was that at the end of the class, he would recite the prologue to Romeo and Juliet, and then the production would begin, and you'll see how he responded to being directed by another director.
Does it mean suddenly it's not about the we, is it? Or is there...
It's not so much about the we. You'll see.
Okay,
You'll see.
Great, wonderful. Let's have a look.
Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge, break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal lines of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured, piteous overthrows do with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which, but their children's end, naught could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic on the stage. The which, if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall be. Bitch.
Well, I was born in Liverpool, like I said, a few centuries ago.
And I was born dancing, like we all were. But I liked it, and so I never abandoned it. I kept dancing, even though I met with a lot of discouragement.
Michelangelo and Rodin especially show us the power of stillness. It's not just stopping, doing what you're doing. It's stopping time. That's so thrilling about that. It's the state of ecstasy where time stops. Dance is when we are at our freest, at our most liberated, isn't it? It's the universal language. It certainly enabled me to kind of, fly here, there, and everywhere. Dancing is better than walking. I feel that I'm absolutely flying when I'm flying, but it's taken a lot of practice, standing on my tippy-tiptoes without wobbling and so on. The technique, of course, is what enables our voices to be heard. But the moment I feel an emotion, I have to share it and then spread it, especially as my main concern, preoccupation, passion is love. And sadly, I think that the world isn't going round as it went around then. I think it's slowing down, because there ain't enough love. There's not enough love, and I think it's essential that the artist provides it, provokes it, gives it, encourages it. It's more useful than anything else. I really believe in the power of love. I mean, it's love that brings peace. Love we need.
Wonderful. It's a very powerful sentiment. With his passing, do you believe that a maverick visionary such as Lindsay do you think there is the space in the world now, or the kind of the infrastructure, the art infrastructure that is set up in this country and across Europe that would allow a genius like Lindsay to shine forth in the same way, or to have that kind of passage and to touch as many people now as he has done over the past 40, 50 years?
I think in terms of Lindsay specifically, I'm jumping in here. You probably know. I think it's up to those of us who were lucky enough to get a taste of this, to spread it, as he said. I think we've got to have the courage to be brave and innocent and risk getting laughed at, as I'm sure he felt a lot. He wasn't always given the support that he needed, not from this country anyway, but those of us who teach, Daniela will confirm this, that the students that Lindsay works with, the dancers, the companies that he works with, without fail, every single one of them walks away a changed person. And there's probably people in the audience tonight who will echo that as well. So it comes through the body. It starts in the heart, And
I suppose the process is, as artists, it is about failing as well, and about falling over, picking yourself up, becoming stronger as a result.
Absolutely,
that, of
a
course,
lot of
we
falling
live in a
over.
culture where you're not allowed to do that anymore. You can't be seen to have rough edges anymore, and that's also part of that process.
Well, I think there's another thing as well, though, is the time that Lindsay comes from as well. There was, he's a working class kid, really.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I don't think that working class kids necessarily have a route to finding out their art anymore.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about going to drama school, but that was the year that they stopped the grants.
Yeah.
And there was a clear definition that they were, you know, of people who were allowed into the art forms. And I don't think that's happening anymore. You know, there isn't the hunt for great talent across the spectrum of class or finance, you know.
And I suppose it's no surprise that he settled in Italy, where
None
it
whatsoever.
was probably easier for him to create the company that he did.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, there's a free theatre, have it for the week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's hard
Yeah.
to imagine that ever happening here.
Yes, it's impossible actually.
I didn't want to be the harbinger of doom, so thank you.
absolutely, yeah.
Right.
It's a remarkable difference, but perhaps change can come from the inside. You know, I work in a drama school. It's up to people like me to make sure that they are more inclusive environments, to take Lindsay's spirit in that regard as well. I asked Rosie at the interval, what's the first thing that you think of when you think of Lindsay? And she said, he's just welcomes everybody.
Yeah.
And so that.
Well, he obviously had that innate. It's almost like a superpower to know I can work with you, and I know that I will enrich your life. As he will continually feel that he was enriched by working with whoever
Yes.
it is. It's not
Yeah.
a one-way street.
No.
It's not like the teacher, well, I'm giving you my wisdom. It's like
No.
he's also, right until his death, was learning and growing and changing
And had a really good habit of making you feel like that you had known him all his life in the first 2 or 3 minutes of meeting him,
amazing.
which is a very generous thing, isn't it?
Great. I want to thank you both very much for sharing memories and that beautiful film as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack and Judd.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. And now I'm going to introduce once again to my dear friend Tim, who was going to take us into the next portion. Tim.
I have to make an apology quickly to the Bridgewater Hall because the people from that venue are here tonight and Lindsay is smoking in the dressing room. So sorry, obviously I wasn't going to tell on him at the time. But yeah.
He was a rule breaker. This is obvious.
And this was, it's actually, he got me, we were chatting and it sort of relates to my mother as well. We were kind of catching up and joining the dots of how he knew my mum in the 60s. And anyway, I'll play the film.
You know, there are all the people that you've seen on TV and everything. But you know the funniest thing about Flowers, with Lindsay's show, which was really a kind of prestigious event really for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
I love the poster as well. The poster
Yeah,
is just so beautiful.
incredible.
I love it.
a photographic rock it was.
Really? Oh God.
Yeah.
But that show was in the Regent Street Theatre, and when it finished, another show opened that my mum was in.
You're joking.
No, that was the.
It was Calcutta.
No, it was.
Saxophone.
No, it's the other one. I've forgotten the name of it. It's got a really silly, daft name.
Come on, what's the name of it?
It was like
I was put up
like
because-
hair. It was all that.
Yes,
sex
of
and-
course it was Calcutta.
No, it wasn't. You'll know it when I say.
I was put out because our show closed in order for your mother's show to move in. And we could have run much, much longer. But it wasn't Larry Palmer's fault. It was the producer, Michael Condon.
Let my people come.
Of course it was.
She's in a long job. She's got a little hole in the frock, a hole in the suit, a hole in the locket where we keeps to ride. Nellie was the smartest down our alley. On Maccari's doorstep. long Nelly, is it a long Joe? And does he love me like he used to on Mother Kelly's doorstep down Paradise Road? Very beautiful.
So that was a song that Lindsay asked me to sing because his friend, old friend Danny LaRue, obviously recorded that in the 60s. And so, because we wanted to do songs that we knew Lindsay liked, I thought it might be nice to do that again tonight. But I'm not going to do it on my own. I'm going to invite my mother, Polly Perkins, to the stage. Shall we? Shall we?
Together. Shall I start with this? I've just been lingering all alone down Paradise Row.
Down Paradise Row.
When I was a kiddie, I had a sweetheart, and then there we would go.
Down there we would go. I called her Nellie.
No. I called him Joe. I can't remember his name really, but I called him Joe anyway. And we would romp there hand in hand. Then we'd both sit down on a doorstep there, and we'd picture the future grand.
On Mother Kelly's doorstep,
down Paradise Road,
I'd sit along Nellie.
I sit along Joe.
She's got a little hole in her frock, a hole in her shoe, a hole in her stocking where her toe peeps through. That Nellie was the smartest down our alley.
Course I was. On Mother Kelly's doorstep, I'm wondering now
if little girl Nellie
remembers Joe,
her beau,
and does he love me like he used to on Mother Kelly's doorstep, down Paradise Road. Thank you. The old ones are the best, aren't they, darling? And I'm one of the old ones now.
When did you first meet Lindsay?
I would say it was 1950s, when he started a club in what was that street, darling? I know you weren't there, but you know what I'm talking about.
Great Wimble Street.
No, it wasn't Great Wimble
Dean?
Street. It was Fritz Street.
Right.
And they just finished a club there called the Zambidi, and it was all rock and roll and jukebox, and things there. Because I remember I was dancing with somebody at the time, and Paul Anka came on singing, "Put your head on my shoulder." It was that sort of time. It was lovely. And so I did, and danced round with the head on somebody's shoulder. got rid of them in the end, but they... Anyway, so that turned into that. It was all rock and roll and jiving and doing this, that, and the other. Then all of a sudden, Lindsay appeared and a stage appeared at the end. And he auditioned some very beautiful girls and boy dancers. And we had a friend called Tony Khan who played the guitar and sang and things. And it was absolutely, it turned into a little theatre.
Right.
Got rid of the jukebox, which was a shame because I like Paul Anka. And then Lindsay really took over and really, really taught the girl dancers. Some of them even went to the Folies Bergère later on when it started to, get quieter, because it was 1950s and 60s were taking over with all sorts, wasn't it? I wasn't in it. I can't remember a thing about the 60s. Anyway, so that's what happened, and we became very close.
But he must, I mean, you were all very young then, and, I suppose...
I was 16. I was at the Windmill. I used to come from the Windmill when I finished my show, and then come to the Zambezi, it was called, and always either work on the stage with Lindsay. Well, we had Boner Camp, you know what it's like, darling,
But it's funny because, he obviously has this reputation as being, very grand, and, he's involved in ballet and in kind of kabuki, and it's quite highfalutin. But the reason I'm so drawn to him is it's the mixture of the kind of high art and the low art as well, which I love. Vaudeville.
He could do, absolutely. He could do absolutely everything. And all the girls, he had about 5 or 6 girls, because it was only a small sort of theatre, and he taught them everything, and he sent the last lot, when he was going to close, all off to the Folies Bergère.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He was such a love. He was so kind and very funny and very cool at times. Very cool.
You want his genius to be shared by a greater audience.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And he was amazing. And he was the sweetest person.
Right. Well, I think
he really was a lovely, lovely guy.
Do one more song. Another song? Another song.
What are we doing, babes?
Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me appelle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour là tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur, il n'appartient dont je connais la cause, c'est lui par moi, pour lui dans la vie. Il m'a dit, les jours pour la vie, et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui
Merci, Dankeschön. Gracias. How many more languages can I learn, honey? I'll put this on, you can keep this phallic symbol.
Ladies and gentlemen, the inimitable Polly Perkins, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful. Thank you, madam. Let me escort you off the stairs. We've seen her already this evening dance so beautifully, and we know that she was one of Lindsay's closest collaborators. Would you please welcome once again Ms. Daniela Maccari. Now, well, I'd like to, you're gonna, and yeah, join us, Tim. You probably need a mic though. Do you need a mic or? Here we go, there we go. Daniela, you said you worked very closely with Lindsay. Tell us when you first worked with him, how that came about, and what that relationship, what became?
It was 10 years ago. I have been so lucky to meet him. He auditioned me. He needed an assistant choreographer for a project, Cinderella. He was restaging his Cinderella with a group of young actors and dancers. And he auditioned me as a choreographer for that project. And it was incredible because after 5 minutes during that audition, I thought I have been working with him for all my life. And years later, he told me that he felt the same. And we immediately started to work. And his other collaborator sometimes was saying, maybe first Daniela has to check her contract from the theater if she's happy. And I say, it must be stupid, of course. I will accept the contract because I was so happy. Immediately, I thought that I have been working with him for all my life.
And this is what Jack said as well, that feeling of an immediate connection. And suddenly you speak the same language, you know. It was probably less about what you had done before and more about that moment immediately, you know, that it doesn't matter what has come before, it's what will happen from now.
Yes, and yes, the only thing is that, good start from that audition. But yes, I thought this is the theater that I want to do, this is the dance that I want to dance, this is really what I want to do. I felt so lucky, really, and it's now 1 month that sometimes I found myself thinking, maybe I am not learning anymore. Maybe every day is lost nearly. Okay, he said that every day without dancing is a day lost, of course, but because. Being with him, you learn every moment. Every time he opens his mouth, every gesture he does, every suggestion, of course, I was assisting him also in the workshop. I was the prima ballerina of the show. He gave me incredible roles that I love, really. I said, I'm so lucky. What did I do for having this? I was so happy, really.
So obviously losing him must be awful. But do you then have this need to take his life, his light and what he gave to you and give to other people now too?
See, this is really what I need, I want to do. We also, the other collaborators and dancers of the company, to keep on spreading his light. He gave me another gift nearly 2 years ago. One day he wanted to teach me his roles, the angel, the flower, his main solo. And he said, he didn't say when I will die. He said, when my legs won't be good enough, I want you to dance. So and I danced the last week in Italy. We did the show. It was already scheduled. We should be with Lindsay. We decided to go to do anyway. So it was an incredible emotion, of course, contrasting feeling, happy because it was such an incredible, important things that we were doing, of course, missing him any moment. I miss doing questions and having answers because he's my maestro.
Yes.
So even from, also today, from the smallest thing, how do my hair, the makeup, and he often said, you know what to do. But I would like anyway to ask everything.
I'm also very interested because you talk about what he gave you, this incredible gift of handing you these roles, the first hand, this is for you now. But also we're hearing of the company and how important the company is. So losing him, it must be very comforting to be together in a company and sharing the memory and keeping his memory alive together, collectively.
The feeling I had last week doing the show with the company is the same feeling that I have today, a family. It was incredible 1 month ago when it happened, the love that we received from all over the world, how people are really close, and the sensation, the feeling, okay, I had my own, I was sad, I had my own sorrow, of course, for what happened, but I had to think, okay, Lindsay is of everybody, for everybody, so okay, I have to keep on answering the telephone to tell again how it happened, if he was happy the last day.
Sure.
Because, I mean, really, you see that, yes, Lindsay is of everybody.
Yeah. Tim, we're going to see a film now. We're moving toward...
Yeah, sorry. It's lovely listening to Daniela talk about all this. So I've lost my thread a little bit. We're going to watch us just Lindsay talking in Manchester after we did What Love Would Want.
This is a very healing thing to do. It's a very powerful thing.
Yeah, I actually find it quite healing myself. It's, oh look.
She's coming.
She's coming.
She's on her way. She's here.
Welcome, Lindsay Kemp.
Hello.
Hi, Lindsay. You're here just in time.
Oh, nice. Nice to meet you.
So,
nice frock.
You're looking, well, takes one to know one. Resplendent in head to toe African splendor. How did you come to be involved in this project, Lindsay?
Tim rang me up. He rang me up and he said, I've got a project and I think you might be interested in involving yourself in it. He didn't know how much I would be interested in involving myself in it. I mean, it's such a wonderful, wonderful project. I mean, I was absolutely delighted. I was also very pleased to be coming back to Manchester after 50 years or more.
50? 50?
Yeah, I was a teenager. I mean, I was only 5 years old.
One of the things that is so stunning about your performance is, just as Tim said, you seem to embody so many different aspects of what love is. I mean, I don't know about you in the audience, but to me it seems like you could be an infant, you could be an elder, you could be a man, you could be a woman. You're sort of everything. You know, you're corporal, but you're also ghostly. It's kind of a spooky thing. How many people are hidden inside of you?
Oh, I don't know. At the moment, not many, but ghostly, not yet. Anyway, I'm me. That's all. And of course, we are all made up of so many components. Once on the stage and listening to this music, of course, I become the music, entering through a kind of a trance. You know, I leave outside behind me in the hotel bill I forget about, and I hear the music, and I abandon myself to the music, as a tree abandons itself to the breeze, in the words of Isadora Duncan. And it's that breeze or that music which carries me to another world. Oh my word! Oh, I say, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, blimey.
Oh, very much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Amazing.
Very nice.
Amazing.
Thank you all.
Oh, I have to make one last announcement.
One more surprise for you.
One last announcement. These rather special flowers for Lindsay were sent from Kate Bush. I'll carry them for you, dear. Don't worry.
I know Shepherd's Bush. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Kate.
everybody.
Goodbye.
Let's go. I hope he's good as well. You okay?
Yeah.
See you later.
Wonderful. And of course, what comes across so, like a sledgehammer there is the extraordinary sense of humor, this amazing, right to the end when he's walking off the stage. It starts with him being hilarious, it ends with him being hilarious. And it must have been, to work in that sort of environment with this sort of warmth and humor must.
We had so many laughs every day. And working with him, I thought that we were always working because, for example, in a lunch break on the plane, on the train, he could have an idea and we started immediately to work on that idea, on the show, on something. But never working in the same time because we worked with so much love, passion, and laughing a lot.
It's true. Sorry, I was just going to say, you mentioned that the idea can suddenly happen. And what a lot of people probably don't know is that it wasn't just the choreography, it was the costumes, it was the drawings, it was the sets, it was all from him.
Yes, it was a total vision.
Yeah.
So sometimes I thought, okay, to be assistant of the director when the director is Lindsay Kemp, who is very busy because from the makeup, props, you could see him with his hands dirty, with colors till 5 minutes before the show because he had to improve a costume, so to sew something or to dye something or to paint furniture till the very last moment. Everything was important, the lighting, everything.
Yeah,
extraordinary. For example, about that I learned a lot because when I started with him I was a dancer, so I was concerned to dance, the choreography, and so the time to rehearse the choreography. And one day he said, look, maybe now we stop rehearsing the choreography because it is important the same to rehearse the lighting. We have to, because everything is important.
Great. I mean, he obviously gave you so much, but you obviously, you instilled that you are part of his family. So that was, it's a great thing that you obviously gave to him as well. He bestowed this trust and love for you as well.
I hope so, but okay, yes, we had incredible times together.
Amazing. Thank you, Daniela.
And looking at this video, I can say how happy he was for this project of the What Love Would Want. Those days in Manchester were incredible. He loved every time collaborate with Tim because he loved Tim. He thought that he was very talented, yes, and he was a friend, from the very first. It's a coincidence, but today I think there are here the two artists that Lindsay most enjoyed to collaborate with, Jack and the Tim.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I know from knowing Tim so well how important this project was in Manchester particularly. And we're going to see what is, I suppose, the premiere now.
I just thought I'd just share some of the pics, if we can dim the lights a little bit, Chris. Yeah, just just to share a bit of that day, which it's been hard to hold it all back until tonight, and then tomorrow it'll be on, online. But it was kind of a procession on the 17th of June this year, from the beginning of the day when we all got up until about 8 o'clock in the evening when Lindsay joined us on the stage. But before that, we had all these couples that myself and Auntie Fallon photographed and filmed for the video. Mm-hmm. And in Manchester, people that had volunteered to be in What Love Would Want Part 3, because we did the one in London and then Toronto as well. While that was happening, the choir were in another room in the Bridgewater Hall rehearsing their parts. Here's Lindsay the day before rehearsing in the space with me and Emmanuel Vass, pianist, without makeup as the angel. And here is Daniela, which, and you don't mind me saying this, but, Lindsay has to watch his show. Somebody has to be Lindsay for the rehearsals as well. So, sort of showing all the magic now behind what's going on. And it was funny, actually, this is a really funny photograph, which was not rehearsed.
Great picture.
And the funniest thing about that was that when just before he did it, when we were taking the bows, we were just bowing normally, and then he looked round at me and went, "Right, you." He just grabbed me and kissed me. And here's the team, which we were so lucky.
Where's Lindsay in that picture? So hard to tell, isn't it?
Again, it was a bit like what you were saying earlier about non-subsidised projects, and this was, thanks to Paula Wilson there in the middle, who enabled this to happen. And we have the What Love Would Want production team from Canada who flew over to do this, and obviously Lindsay and Daniela from Italy. It was a very before, I never thought that we'd be losing Lindsay before showing this video. So, it was immense anyway. And I've been very keen to make sure that what we've been doing with this is as we would have done it if he was still here. It's not happening because Lindsay died. It's happening because he lived.
Yeah. Well, it's an extraordinary thing to have this moment at the end of his life, that of course you're going to be the care that you will, to birth it to the final stage becomes all the more powerful. But when people will take away, I suppose when they will see it in 10 years, 20 years, when you're trying to get the plaque put on the house in Soho, and people aren't aware of where this is. It doesn't matter. This was, as a standalone piece, is going to be a very beautiful, important piece, with or without the timing,
If those days in Manchester, he was amazed. Of course, he loved the song. When Tim proposed to dance, of course, he said, "No, what will I wear?" And he suggested, "Why you don't wear your big white wings?" And usually in artists, a dancer, we are not very keen to do the same character with another music. You usually dance with those wings, with the Verdi music, Requiem. Okay. But he loved the song, and he was telling me, it fits perfectly on this music, and it makes this dance more human, of course. And of course, he was so happy to be asked to be love. You heard before from his own voice how much important was love. He was always speaking about love, teaching, rehearsing. He said that the responsibility of the artist is to lift the spirit of the audience, to give light, joy, energy, and love. he always said it's so beautiful to give love and to receive also. And he always, he often was telling the anecdote that when he was a child, he asked his mother, but why so many songs are about love? And the mother said, because love is what makes the world go round. And many times he told me these stories. And I was used to translate him during talk in Italy. And often he was speaking about the importance of giving love. The artist has to give love, to encourage people to love each other. Especially, he was used to say, in this moment where there is lack of love, and he said, is loveless this time, is loveless. And he was, but are you sure? Are you translating well this important word, loveless? Are you understanding? He said, yes, I think so. Because it was important for him speaking about love, how important it is to give love. And about this song and this experience, this project in Manchester, also I think another key word is freedom. Yeah. He said that we are lucky because with our dancing we are free. We listen to the music, we abandon ourselves to the music, and we are transported in another world. So we have to help other people to be free. Yeah. To liberate themselves from inhibition, physical, political, mental inhibition. So this is another responsibility, thought, that the artist has.
Well, I have to say that's probably the best introduction to seeing the video, and also to know that Lindsay puts your song up there with Verdi's Requiem in terms of being angel wing or being wing worthy.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It was amazing, and we're going to play the video in a moment. I just, when I was, what do I want to explain? I want to explain just how important Lindsay was to me, but I think to any artist that worked with him. When you are creative and you're writing or producing or performing, writing music, scripts, devising dance, you generally are working from a dream that's only in your head. It's in your head, and then you start to develop it with whatever your instrument is. And then if you're lucky, you can work with other people and they can help you to realize that. This is a song that I've been working on for 18 months, and I have great hopes to keep doing the song in new cities with new communities to spread the same message Lindsay was spreading, which is about the power of love and light. But for me, I had been constantly doing this video with couples, which is the he for he and she for she and she for he, which was very literal, and some people understood it and some people were still confused. And so when the opportunity came to do this at the Bridgewater Hall on a huge concert stage, I really thought, what do we fill that with? And then I really realized there was one character in the story of the video. I had the couples. You could see the couples, but you couldn't see the love. And that's when I phoned Lindsay and said, would you be in the video? And at first, he'd seen the original with the couples. He said, well, do you want me to be dancing around all the couples? I mean, it's going to be busy on that stage, And I explained, no, we'll film all the couples in the day. And then you go, oh, good, I have space. But I need room, I was like, yes. But of course, the last conversation we had was about how he wanted to be presented in the video. And of course, he said, well, can't you put me between them? And so that's sort of what I've tried to do. And so what I wanted to say was the importance of it to me, and I think for other artists that have worked with him, I couldn't have shown my story with this song without him. And it's of such value to me, which is why I also wanted to screen this in front of people, not on a screen on your phone, and which is normal. It's what I normally do with my songs. I thought this is more important for Lindsay that we get together like this.
So we're going to see it now, and but watch it. Don't applaud at the moment you think you should. Watch it right to the very end. And that's quite important. Okay, you're good. And thank you, Daniela, as well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
barriers you see I never saw. In my mind, you talk about a problem I can't find. He for she for he. That's what love would want. What love would want for you and me. He for he, she for she. That's what love would want. What love would want for you and me. Time to will tell you how it is before you yell. Fear, you feel, will fill you up with nothing but more fear. Yeah, oh. Yeah, oh. He for she for he. That's what
It's pretty powerful.
And that's where we changed the picture that you've been seeing all night to that now.
Tim, that's a beautiful piece of work, and you should be very proud.
I'm very grateful. I think it's that we had a lot of words that we're saying about that project anyway.
Yeah.
That we are grateful that Lindsay agreed to do it, and we were grateful that the venue asked us to do it. I'm grateful that the couples came to do it. I mean, yeah, the whole thing it's still, and you know, for me it was a dream come true to realise something that I hadn't been able to do, and that was really down to Lindsay. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, I'm a bit overwhelmed, to be honest.
Yes, it is overwhelming, and I think you know.
But this now will start. As you said, this will now stand alone from tomorrow, and I guess the legacy is just to.
I think that for me the point of it when we were making it was to really keep doing what I was doing with the song and try to share the message of inclusivity. And I think somebody mentioned that earlier Jack mentioned that in regards to Lindsay's approach to his art. And that's what the song is about, inclusivity. It's about not asking your parents if it's okay to fall in love with somebody of the same sex as you. It's about asking love if it's okay. Don't ask the church. Don't ask the police. Don't ask the government. Don't ask anybody. Ask love, you know. And that message it is a perfect message for Lindsay to have portrayed. We were going to push it anyway. And now it feels like it's a double message.
Well, is it going to be something? I know you've done it in Toronto and you've obviously done it in Manchester and London.
Yes.
Is it something that, even if you don't, that you would like to see live as an ongoing project in with different interpretation, with a different voice or a different love?
It's a signature project for me musically. I intend to record it in as many languages in the world as I can in the life that I'm granted while I'm here. And I intend to work with Lindsay's close collaborators to bring new versions of it, starting with Daniela, to continue the visual exploration that we just started with Lindsay. You know, he just began that, and we were planning to do it elsewhere with Lindsay, and then thinking about more dancers.
And you think that his passing has accelerated that desire to do that?
Yeah, the desire was already there,
right?
But it's now like I said, it's a double message. It's yes, we want people to feel the strength of love and inclusivity and diversity, but we also want people to remember one of the people who stood for all of that.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And before we do say goodbye to you and to Lindsay, I'll just do the quick recap. Thank you very, very much for coming. As ever, thanks to Nim for helping put this whole thing together. Thanks to the staff and to Charlie and to Nick from here to put technically, and to Daniela and to Jack and to Judd and to Kit. And have I missed somebody? And to Polly as well. Thank you. It's the last, but the very most important, Polly. So, and also to the extraordinary talent of Mr. Tim Arnold as well. Tim, introduce the goodbye, if you will.
Okay. Really, to honour Lindsay, some of you will know when he finished his dance classes, he had a special ritual and like an incantation, which has become known as "For You." And this is a way the dance class is finished with Elgar's Nimrod. And so this involves really joining as a group of people by raising the spirit. And of course we want to raise Lindsay's spirit even higher. And this happened at his wake after he died, and it happened at his funeral as well. We would love you to help us do that now. And that can't happen with you sitting where you are. So I'm going to ask everyone to come as close to the bottom of the stage as possible. And I'm going to ask Daniela to come up and lead you. It's like Lindsay said, one day without dance, you know, so you're going to all have a part of it now. And come closer, come closer. This is for you. This space is for you. That's it. Everybody at the back. We don't want anybody near any chairs. Okay. So Daniela, you wanna say a few words?
Just listen to the music, abandon to the music, and being transported.
1, 2. A really big thank you to Daniela Maccari and Steve Furst and all of you for coming. And through doing that, you're all taking a little bit of Lindsay away with you. Spread it wherever you go. Thank you.
Well, I was born dancing, like everyone else, but I loved it so much. It was so much more pleasurable than walking. So I have danced through my life. It hasn't always been a happy dance, but it's been a dance. Much of the time it's been a very joyful dance. I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be a dancer. And after seeing that marvelous film, which I hope you've all seen, The Red Shoes, with Mara Scherer, Robert Helpman and Lady Maxine, which my mother took me to see when I was 10, and she regretted, needless to say. I thought, that's what I gotta be. This is my world. It was also my introduction to the Russian impresario Sergei Diaghilev, and I found a book on the Russian ballet where there's fabulous illustrations by Bax, Benoit, Picasso. Teaching for me is one of the most important, if anything that I do is important, but it's the most useful thing that I do, and for me it's very essential that I'm useful. I don't just want to be a bit of decoration. Those days have gone. And teaching, gives me my opportunity to encourage everyone to love, and to love much more than they do, and to love without fear, and to love with a generosity, and to love, of course, our neighbors, but to love especially strangers, to help, to love, to inspire. Is my goal, my intention. It's what I do, whether on the stage or off the stage. Probably noticed I'm never actually off the stage. I got a bit of this makeup off, but I didn't have time to get the rest of it off. She's always on.
She's always on. Anybody else?
Thank you for remembering me. Much appreciated.